Friends, welcome back to Arc Tutorials. This is Node.js full tutorial series for absolute beginners. In today's episode, we are going to learn how to create and export modules. If you're working with Node.js applications or Express.js applications, you will come across a lot of modules. As I explained in the previous episode, there are three types of modules: built-in, custom, and third-party. When you're working on a large enterprise application, chances are you will work with 40 plus modules which are custom built. So hence, it's very important for you to learn how to create your own module and export them so that you can use it in other places. That's the context of today's episode. Let's get started. This is part 5 of the series. Make sure that you have gone through the first 4 episodes in order to have continuity to your learning. Also, this is a very comprehensive tutorial that I'm building which consists of Express.js with MongoDB with MySQL and covers around 50 plus episodes. So make sure you like this tutorial to keep encouraging and supporting me. Alright, so today we are learning how to create our own modules, how to export functions, variables, how to export a class, how to export multiple items and then use them. Okay, so that's the context of today's episode. Let's get started with coding. Alright, so I am in the Node.js tutorial folder. I'm going to create a new folder. What is module? Module is a small file which will consist of code that we want to create smaller code which we will reuse everywhere. First example I'm going to show you is of multiple functions. So let's say I'm writing a function which is doing addition, right? And I can just say a plus b. This is one function. I can also have say multiply and I'll do a to b. Okay, it can be any function, right? You can write it in any way you want. Let's say sanitize input, right? And you can pass input param output file, and you can do some console log or whatever operations you want to do here, and do output file, right? So three functions you have. Now in most likely you will write these as common functions in one place and want to export them. So you will write module dot exports, and this is where you will mention what all you want to export. I'm saying I want to export add multiply is the right function name, so multiply, and I also want to export sanitize input. So see, now I've written three functions which are in this particular module and I'm exporting those three. Okay, and how do you use them? Let's say I will create a new file and I'm going to say test module.js, and in this we are just going to just import it. Now you will say require dot slash, you'll say function module dot slash functions function module. Okay, and here you will do add multiply sanitize input, and in this file you can just simply call that, and you can use these like this, some string, some file name, and to run it you can in the command prompt in that folder you will write node followed by test hyphen module, and it gives you the output. Okay, add is not giving any output because we haven't done really anything with the output, but you get the idea that you can write functions in a separate file. It becomes its own module and you are exporting each of the function. So here we are creating our own module and exporting them, right? On the same lines you can also have a variable and say session id equal to some token value that you have, and or say API key, right? And you can export a variable too like this, and in the again then the test module you can import it and you can use in this file and say API key. Again I'm running with node and you can see in the console log it is printing the API key. what you learned here is that you can have a functions you can export. You can have a variable that you can export. Same way, I'll show you a quick example of class module. In most real-time examples, you would have a class that you will write, and in most likely if you're working on any serious kind of an application, you will have a lot of classes that you will define in order to protect the user. Let's say I'm writing a payment module, so I will write a payment class, and I'll say setup credit card is a function which will do some processing, and say credit card initialized. Then you have process payment, you will have something payment done here, payment processed, and so on and so forth, right? So this is a class which has all the methods in it and the functions. Now what you will do is same way you will export it. Okay, and for that what you will do, same way you will write module dot exports equal to payment. So what you're doing now is you're exporting a class. This was an example of exporting multiple functions and variables. This is an example of how you can export a class itself. In the test module, again you will do the same way. Module, and you can do the initialization and say const new payment equal to new payment, and you can call that new payment. You can say new payment dot, you can call these methods. So see, now I clear and run it again, and now you can say credit card initialized. So you have learned how to create your own modules, that is separate files with your code. Multiple functions can be exported, variables can be exported, a class, entire class can be exported as a module. So that's how you create and export modules in Node.js. I have covered all of these details. As we go forward, you would see that we will write a lot of modules practically, and that's where this episode is really important. In the next episode, I'm going to show you some variations of how do you import modules. This was really one way of how you import a module, that is using require, but there are other modes that how you can use. So I'm going to touch base on that little bit in the next episode, and then we start with the built-in modules. I hope you like this tutorial. Please do hit that like button for me. Please do subscribe to my channel. Please do share these videos with your friends and colleagues and help them learn as well. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next episode.